If you're hearing this right now, this message was meant to find you. Not everyone is guided here. Capricorn doesn't move by accident. You're here because something greater is calling you awake. As this year comes to a close, God is asking you to stop wasting your energy on noise, on pressure, on paths that were never meant to be yours. You know this already. You only get one life, one chance to build something that actually matters. You weren't born just to survive. You were born to build a legacy. If your soul is ready to receive this next chapter, type in the comments, "I choose my true path," and stay with me, because what comes next will change how you see everything. You know, not everyone ever hears messages like this. Some people scroll past, some people turn it off, some people never even feel the pull. But you did, and that already tells me something about you. You are not here by accident. You never really were. Capricorn souls don't move on impulse. You don't chase noise. You don't waste energy on empty promises. So, if you're listening right now, it's because something inside you finally said, enough. Pay attention. There are moments in life when the world gets loud. Deadlines, expectations, responsibilities stacked one on top of another, and you've carried them. Quietly, for a long time. You didn't complain, you didn't collapse, you just kept going. But here's the part no one ever asks you. How heavy has it been to always be the strong one, to be the one others lean on, to be the one who holds things together, to be the one who keeps moving forward even when your own heart felt tired? God sees that. He sees the nights you didn't speak about, the choices you made out of duty, not desire, the dreams you postponed because someone else needed you to be stable. You were never weak for that. But you were never meant to stay there forever. This is the moment when something shifts inside you. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. Like a deep breath you didn't know you were holding. You start to realize your strength was never meant to trap you. It was meant to carry you somewhere higher. There is a reason you feel restless lately. A reason the old paths no longer feel right. A reason the life you built no longer feels complete. It's not because you failed. It's because you've outgrown it. God isn't asking you to abandon responsibility. He's asking you to realign it, to stop building lives for everyone else while leaving your own unfinished. You can feel it, can't you? That quiet knowing in your chest, that sense that something bigger is waiting, not louder, not faster, just truer. This isn't about proving anything anymore. Not to your family, not to society, not even to the version of you who survived the past. This is about choosing the path that finally honors who you've become. And maybe part of you feels afraid. That's normal. Capricorn doesn't fear effort. You fear wasting it. So listen closely. What's coming into your life now will require less force and more alignment, less pushing, more trust. You don't need to have all the answers yet. You just need to stay present for what's being revealed. Because once you recognize why you've been prepared this way, why discipline lives in your bones, why endurance was written into your story, everything begins to make sense. And without realizing it, you find yourself standing right where you need to be, ready, grounded, listening. And that's when the road ahead starts to feel different. You've always been the one who keeps going, even when no one is watching, even when no one notices, even when it costs you more than you admit. Responsibility came to you early, and you wore it like a second skin. You learned how to be steady, how to be reliable, how to be the one others could count on when things fell apart. And people did count on you, over and over again. They leaned, they depended, they trusted that you would hold the weight, and you did. But somewhere along the way, you stopped asking yourself who was holding you. There is a quiet exhaustion that only strong people feel, not the kind that comes from failure, the kind that comes from always being needed. You wake up one day and realize you have done everything right. You followed the rules, you kept your word, you showed up, and yet something inside you feels unfinished. God sees that space inside you, the one you rarely talk about, the one you learn to ignore because there was always another obligation waiting. You told yourself, this is just how life works. This is what being responsible looks like. But responsibility was never meant to replace purpose. You were meant to build, yes, but not at the cost of forgetting who you are. There is a difference between sacrifice and self-erasure, and for a long time, you blurred that line because it felt safer than disappointing anyone. You became very good at carrying what was handed to you, so good that no one ever questioned whether it was still yours to carry. But here is the truth you may have been avoiding. The road you have been walking did what it was supposed to do. It taught you discipline. It gave you strength. It shaped your character. And now it has reached its end. Not because it was wrong, but because you have grown beyond it. God is not taking anything away from you. He is releasing you from what you have already mastered. You might feel that release as restlessness, as a quiet dissatisfaction you cannot explain, as a sense that staying where you are would require shrinking something essential inside you. That is not rebellion. That is recognition. You are not being asked to abandon your values. You are being asked to realign them with the life you were actually meant to live. Ask yourself something honestly. When was the last time you built something just for you? Not out of duty, not out of pressure, but out of truth. There is a reason this question feels heavy, and there is a reason it feels relieving at the same time. You have been faithful, you have been consistent, you have been patient. Now, something else is required. Not effort, not endurance. Presence. The kind that allows you to notice when your soul has quietly stepped ahead and your life needs to catch up. You are not late. You are right on time. And as you sit with that understanding, something begins to settle. Not answers, not plans, just clarity. And in that clarity, the way forward no longer feels forced. There comes a moment when staying comfortable starts to cost more than taking a risk. You may not have noticed it at first. It didn't arrive as a crisis. It arrived as a quiet question that kept returning when the room went still. What am I actually committing my life to? For a long time, you lived in between. Not unhappy, but not fully alive either. You showed up. You handled what needed to be handled. You kept promises even when they were heavy. But somewhere inside, there was a pause, a hesitation, a sense that you were holding back from something that asked more of you. Not more work, more truth. God doesn't ask Capricorn for impulsive faith. He knows your nature. You move when something is real, when it has weight, when it can last. That's why this moment matters. This is not about doing everything at once. It's about stopping the habit of half living, half believing, half committing, half trusting yourself. You were never designed for halfway roads. Discipline lives in you for a reason, not as punishment, not as pressure, as direction. When you commit, things align around you. Time sharpens, energy focuses. Your mind stops scattering itself, trying to please too many demands. You feel it when commitment is missing. Life feels noisy. Decisions feel heavy. Progress feels slow, even though you're always busy. God is asking you to choose one path with your whole presence. Not because you owe Him, but because you owe yourself a life that reflects your true capacity. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You don't need to justify why you want more. You don't need permission to step forward. What you need is alignment between who you are and what you give your energy to. Leadership was never about control for you. It was about responsibility handled with integrity. Legacy was never about status. It was about building something that outlives your fear. And here is the part many people misunderstand. Commitment does not mean certainty. It means devotion. It means saying, I will stay present even when the outcome is unclear. I will show up even when doubt whispers. I will keep walking because turning back would cost me my soul. God is not waiting for you to be flawless. He is waiting for you to be willing to stop negotiating with fear, willing to stop delaying what your heart already knows, willing to let discipline become devotion instead of obligation. You might feel the weight of this right now. That's okay. Important decisions always carry gravity. Take a breath. Let it settle. Notice how your body responds when you imagine choosing fully, not rushing, not forcing, just standing firmly in your truth. That steadiness you feel, that calm beneath the seriousness, that's your sign. Because once commitment becomes clear, the path no longer asks you to push. It begins to meet you. There was a time when discipline felt heavy to you, like a weight you carried because you had to, because someone needed you to, because stability mattered more than comfort. You learned early that structure keeps things from falling apart, so you became the structure for your family, for your work, for the people who leaned on you. But discipline was never meant to drain you. It was meant to guide you. What once felt like a burden is beginning to reveal itself as something else entirely, a doorway. You may notice it in small ways, a desire to simplify, a pull toward order, an urge to clear space where chaos used to live, not out of control, out of clarity. God often moves quietly when He is preparing you for something lasting. He does not rush Capricorn, He refines. You might feel yourself stepping back from places that once felt familiar. Rooms you used to enter automatically now feel loud, heavy, misaligned. That is not rejection, that is protection. Some environments served you once by teaching you endurance, by testing your limits, by shaping your strength. But strength evolves, and what shaped you is not always what sustains you. You may notice relationships shifting too, not with conflict, not with drama, just distance. Conversations feel repetitive, expectations feel draining. You leave interactions more tired than fulfilled. That is not selfishness speaking, that is discernment. God is not removing people from your life to punish anyone. He is creating room for you to breathe differently. For Capricorn, structure is sacred. It determines how energy flows, how focus builds, how peace settles in the body. When your structure is right, life feels steady even in uncertainty. When it is wrong, everything costs more than it should. You are learning now that discipline is not about restriction. It is about alignment, about choosing routines that nourish you, boundaries that protect you, commitments that feel clean instead of heavy. Notice how your body responds when you imagine living this way. Less noise, clearer mornings, evenings that feel earned, not exhausted. This is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters with presence. God does not ask you to carry what is no longer yours. He asks you to walk wisely with what remains. And as you let go of what drains you, something subtle happens. Your strength feels lighter, your focus sharper, your spirit steadier. You begin to trust that order does not cage you, it frees you. Because when your life has the right structure, you are not constantly reacting. You are responding with intention, with clarity, and slowly, almost without effort, you notice that the path ahead feels less crowded, less demanding, more honest, like a road that finally fits the way you were built to walk. There comes a moment when the noise no longer motivates you. It only exhausts you. You have heard it for years, the opinions, the advice that sounds like concern, the expectations dressed up as love. You listened because you care, because you were taught to be responsible, because keeping the peace felt easier than questioning the path you were on. But something inside you has grown quieter lately, not empty, clear, and in that quiet, you begin to notice how loud the world has been. Everyone telling you who to be, what success should look like, how much is enough, when it is acceptable to rest. You carried those voices with you like weights in your pockets. You thought they were yours. They are not. God does not speak through pressure. He does not rush you with fear. He does not compare your timeline to anyone else. His voice is steady, grounded. It does not shout. It waits. You feel it when you stop trying to impress, when you sit alone without explaining yourself to anyone, when you allow your breath to slow and your shoulders to drop. That is where clarity lives. You were never meant to live your life as a performance. You were never meant to earn your worth through constant approval. You were meant to be aligned, rooted, true. The world will always have opinions. Family will always have hopes. People will always project their fears onto your choices. That does not make them wrong. It just means they are human. But you were not created to carry everyone else's fears as your own. There is a difference between listening and surrendering your direction. And right now, you are being invited to reclaim that direction. This does not require confrontation. It does not require explanations. It requires honesty with yourself, with God. When you begin to listen inward, something changes in the way you move. Decisions become simpler, not easier, cleaner. You stop asking, will they understand, and start asking, does this feel true? That question alone can change everything. God has been speaking to you in subtle ways, through restlessness, through discomfort, through moments when your heart feels full and moments when it feels heavy. He has been guiding you not away from love, but toward integrity. When you follow that inner voice, you are not rejecting the world. You are choosing coherence. Your life starts to feel less scattered, less reactive, more intentional. You begin to notice that peace does not come from pleasing everyone. It comes from standing in one place without apology. This is where trust deepens. Not blind trust, anchored trust, the kind that allows you to move forward even when others do not understand yet, and they may not. That is okay. What matters is that you do. As you continue to listen, you will feel less pulled in all directions. Your energy gathers, your focus sharpens. You stop chasing validation and start cultivating presence. And in that presence, the path ahead does not demand your attention. It gently invites your step. There is a moment when the road in front of you stops looking familiar, not frightening, just quiet. And for the first time, you are not surrounded by voices telling you where to go. Only space. This is where many people turn back, because silence can feel uncomfortable when you are used to constant direction. But you were built differently. Capricorn does not fear empty ground. You fear walking without meaning. So when this new path begins to reveal itself, it does not arrive with signs or applause. It arrives as a deep knowing that the old way can no longer carry you forward. You may notice how still things feel now. Fewer distractions, fewer urgencies. Even your thoughts move more slowly. This is not stagnation. This is preparation. God often clears the noise before he clarifies the direction. The path opening in front of you is not crowded, not because it lacks value, but because it requires presence. It asks for courage without spectacle, confidence without validation, faith without guarantees. You are not being pushed, you are being positioned. You will start to notice the difference between fear and intuition, not by force, but by resonance. Fear rushes. It demands answers immediately. It tightens the chest and fills the mind with urgency. Intuition is calmer, steadier. It does not beg for attention. It waits until you are quiet enough to hear it. You have felt both. You know the difference even if you have not always trusted it. This road teaches you to trust again, not the loud instincts shaped by survival, but the quieter guidance shaped by truth. As you walk, you may feel less inclined to explain yourself, less interested in convincing anyone. Your energy turns inward, not withdrawn, collected. Capricorn's strength has always been rooted in restraint and discernment, in knowing when not to speak, when not to act, when not to react. And now that restraint becomes clarity. You begin to notice how your ego sounds different from guidance. The ego needs recognition. It measures progress by comparison. It asks, how does this look to others? Guidance asks something else entirely. Does this feel aligned even if no one sees it yet? The more you choose stillness, the clearer the answers become. You are not losing momentum, you are gaining precision. God does not shout directions at Capricorn. He refines your inner compass. And when you finally move, it is not rushed. It is exact. Every step feels deliberate. Every choice carries weight, not pressure, but purpose. You realize that solitude is not loneliness. It is recalibration. That silence is not emptiness. It is space for truth to arrive. And in that space, something settles deep inside you. A trust that does not depend on outcomes. A calm that does not need reassurance. You are not being asked to see the entire journey, only to stay present with where you stand. Because the more grounded you become, the more the road reveals itself naturally, without force, without fear. And before you know it, you are no longer searching for direction. You are simply walking with quiet certainty toward what has been waiting for you all along. There is a quiet misunderstanding about reward, especially for someone like you. You were taught to believe that if something does not show up as money or status or visible success, then it does not count. But deep down, you have always known better. Because the moments that changed you the most were never loud. They were calm. They were grounding. They made you feel solid inside your own life. What is coming toward you now feels like that. Not flashy, not rushed, not fragile. It feels steady. Before anything external shifts, something settles inside you, a sense of inner peace that does not depend on circumstances. You wake up and your mind feels quieter. Your decisions feel cleaner. You are no longer negotiating with yourself about who you need to be today. That peace is not passive. It is powerful. From it, a different kind of confidence grows. Not the kind that needs to prove itself, the kind that knows when to speak and when to remain still. You begin to trust your authority, not because others validate it, but because it feels aligned with who you truly are. This is personal power, the kind that does not dominate. It stabilizes. You notice it in the way you carry yourself, in the way you say no without guilt, in the way you commit without hesitation. Your vision stretches further now. You are no longer thinking in months or even years. You are thinking in legacy, what you build, how it lasts, who it serves long after the moment passes. That shift alone changes the way you approach everything. Money responds to that energy. Stability follows clarity. Recognition comes when you are no longer chasing it. What arrives financially is not sudden. It is earned through alignment, not exhaustion. You stop hustling against life and begin cooperating with it. Opportunities feel cleaner, agreements feel fairer, the right people meet you at the right time without forcing. This is sustainable prosperity, the kind that does not burn you out or take you away from yourself. You feel rooted even as your world expands, and perhaps most importantly, you no longer feel behind. You understand now that timing was never against you. It was preparing you. Everything you endured, everything you learned, everything you carried was shaping you for a version of success that fits your soul. You are no longer impressed by shortcuts. You are drawn to what lasts, and in that grounded state, life begins to respond differently. Not because you demanded it, but because you became ready for it. You may not see all of it yet, but you can feel it. A sense that what you are building now will not collapse under pressure, that it will support you instead of draining you. This is the kind of reward that changes how you live, not just what you have. And as you sit with that understanding, there is a quiet satisfaction that settles in your chest. Not excitement, certainty. The kind that tells you you are exactly where you need to be for what is unfolding next. There is something important you need to know right now. You were never alone on this road, not in the moments when you felt strong, and not in the moments when you felt unsure but kept going anyway. God has been with you the entire time, quietly, patiently, waiting for the moment you would finally slow down enough to feel His presence instead of questioning it. You see, Capricorn does not lose faith easily. You lose trust in rest, in stillness, in allowing yourself to be guided instead of carrying everything alone. For so long, you believed that walking beside God meant being perfect, or certain, or endlessly disciplined. But what He has been waiting for is much simpler than that. Your willingness. The moment you stopped pushing and started listening was the moment alignment returned, not all at once, not dramatically, but steadily. Like a hand resting on your back while you walk forward. You may notice it now in the way decisions feel lighter, in the way fear no longer dominates your thoughts, in the way trust begins to replace control. This is not coincidence. This is companionship. You are learning how to walk without constantly scanning for danger, without bracing for loss, without assuming that you must carry every outcome on your shoulders. God does not remove responsibility from you. He shares it with you, and there is relief in that. Not relief that weakens you, relief that strengthens you by reminding you that you do not have to hold everything alone anymore. Something inside you understands that a chapter has quietly closed. No ceremony, no announcement, just a deep sense of completion. The lessons have landed, the endurance has done its work. The version of you that survived has gently stepped aside for the version of you that will now build. What opens ahead does not feel rushed, it feels intentional. You are no longer proving your worth. You are expressing it. You are no longer reacting to life. You are participating in it with awareness. Walking with God does not mean you will never feel doubt again. It means you will never face it without support. It means that when you pause, there is guidance. When you question, there is reassurance. When you move forward, there is purpose beneath your steps. This is the moment your path changes, not because you forced it, but because you were finally ready to walk it with trust. Not blind trust, grounded trust. The kind that knows even when the horizon is unclear, your footing is steady. And as you continue forward, you may notice something subtle but profound. You are not searching anymore. You are responding to what feels true, to what feels aligned, to what has been waiting patiently for you to arrive fully into your own life. And that is how you know this road is different. Not because it promises ease, but because it carries peace. A peace that stays with you step after step as you move into what has always been meant for you. All right? Before you go anywhere, let me leave you with this. If something in you feels calmer right now, not excited, not rushed, just steady, that is not coincidence. That is recognition. You didn't come here to be entertained. You came here to remember who you are when the noise finally fades. Capricorn understands this kind of moment, the quiet ones, the ones that don't announce themselves but change everything anyway. So, if this message met you exactly where you are, I want you to ground it, not by overthinking it, by honoring it. Take a second and type in the comments, "I trust my path." Not for me, for you. And if this space feels safe, if it feels like a place you can return to when the world gets heavy, make sure you stay connected. Subscribe, be part of this circle, because you're not the only Capricorn walking this road. even though it often feels that way. Here, we move slowly, intentionally, with depth. What's ahead for you does not require force. It requires presence. And you already have that. The journey doesn't end here. This was only a signal, a reminder, a moment of alignment. Another message is coming. Another layer will reveal itself right when you're ready to hear it. Until then, walk gently with yourself, trust what's settling inside you, and remember, you're not late, you're not lost, you're right on time. I'll see you again very soon.